I've got a lot to take you through in this March 2022 update for the best savings accounts here in the UK. In fact, we're not even in March yet, but I want to get in there because there's some great things to tell you about happening right now that you get the most from your money, the money you have saved up. Still not fantastic. Rates are still poor compared to inflation, and we'll get to that in a second. But there is a marked improvement, a massive jump up on where we've been for the last year, 2 years, whatever it might be. So let's kick off though with that broader context. What's going on in terms of general movement of interest rates and inflation, which is also really important to work out how much money your savings are effectively losing out on in real terms, because they are. But let's talk about the base rate. If you watch my video from the start of February, you'll know that the Bank of England increased the base rate from 0.25% to 0.5%. Big jump there. Have banks passed that on? Have savings accounts passed it on to us? Not really. On the whole, National Savings and Investment, for example, NS&I, they increased from 0.35 to 0.5%. So a nice jump up there if you have your money there. But that's still well below what you could be getting elsewhere. So it really doesn't make a difference. If your money is in one of those accounts, you are losing out compared to what you could earn elsewhere. 0.75% is the best example right now with Atom Bank as in terms of an easy access account, which is equivalent to what you get with NS&I. So really, that's not been fantastic. We've not really seen it passed on. There could well be another interest rate rise in a few weeks' time in the middle of March. I'll do a video on that if it happens, let you know what that means, and maybe we'll see rates follow on a little bit. So bit by bit, they'll start getting higher and higher. But I'll come through to one in a minute where I actually have seen one big increase though. I think partially as a result of that base rate increase, but partially maybe just out of kind of a marketing campaign with one of the banks. But we have seen for the first time in a long, long time, or about to see, I should say, a 1% rate. I'll come to that in a second. But just again, more context in terms of inflation. The latest rate is 5.5%. Highest it's been in 30 years. Expectation that's going to go past 7%. So really, although we're getting maybe a slight sort of little increase in our interest rates, they're still well below the actual inflation rate, which is disappointing, but that's where we are right now. So let's take you through some of this new account, this kind of one I'm quite excited about. Again, it's weird to get excited about 1% as a savings rate, isn't it? But this is where we are. And this is with Virgin Money. Now, if you watched these videos before, you know I've been recommending the Virgin Money M+ current account as a great place for your initial bit of savings, because they offer 2.02% on the first £1,000 you have saved in that account. It is a variable rate, so it could change, but that effectively has been the highest you can get. And whether you've got 50 quid, 500 quid or £1,000, I think that's the best place to put it. It's easy access. You've got a debit card if you want to. You've got an app you can transfer it around. There are branches around the country. So it's a really good place to put your initial savings balance. After that, though, I've suggested put it over here, put it over there, put it all these different places. From the 1st of March, though, I actually think the best place for your easy access account, so the stuff that you need for emergencies, the stuff that you need for something you're actively saving towards in the next 2 to 3 years, short term, maybe this year, next year, whatever. Actually, you're going to want to put it in that linked saver. It's called the M Saver account. You get it with any Virgin Money current account. Currently pays 0.35%. From the 1st of March, it will be 1% on the first 25k you have saved in that account. If you have anything above £25,000, you get 0.5%. But realistically, unless you are about to buy a house or about to get married or whatever it might be, most of us, if we're just talking about emergency funds and that short-term saving, 25k is more than enough. In fact, 26, because you're going to have that grand in that current account as well, aren't you? The M+ current account. This knocks out of the park that 0.75% I mentioned just a second ago, currently with Atom Bank. Now, maybe we'll see other banks trying to compete with this. Maybe we'll see a bit of a battle now. Other banks trying to push us up, and we might have more choice of where you can get that 1% mark. Maybe even going past it, particularly if we do, as I mentioned, see that base rate increase as well next month and maybe the month after, and who knows when later this year. So we might see more of these. But anyway, at this moment in time, this is the highest rate you're going to get. Now, there have been a few other changes which we're talking about with the this Virgin Money M+ current account. In the past, you'd be able to have more than one of these, yeah? So you could get that 2.02% on a grand in account 1, another in account 2, account 3, account 4. I know people, viewers and readers of the blog, who had 14, 15 of these, maybe even more by now, because they were telling me about this, much earlier last year. So they could have had even more of those. That loophole has been closed. You can only have one current account in your name. You can open up a joint account. So potentially, if you're a couple, you could have 3 of these. So you could get that 2.02% on 3 grand across those 3 different accounts. And in fact, you'd also get that 1% on up to 25k with each of those accounts as well. It's not per person, it's per account. So potentially you could get that on £75,000 if you want to. Again, I think that's a lot of money, more than most of us need to have in emergency savings. Now, if you already have got more than one Virgin Money M Plus current accounts, don't worry, they are not going to be closed down. You will be able to keep them and you will continue getting that 2.02% on that first £1,000. Although they could obviously change this at any time. It's one of the reasons I've kind of not really encouraged you to go overboard, get carried away with opening up loads of these accounts, because then you're going to end up with loads of these current accounts and nothing to do with use them for. But that's where we are on that one. So that's good news. And as we get to later, I'm going to take you from my top places to put your money. That's obviously going to be a clear contender for the bulk of your cash. I do want to quickly say the quick caveat here though. I wouldn't put all your money in there, because what happens if something goes wrong with Virgin Money? All banks, or most banks I should say, have had issues with their app at some point, or whoever knows what's going on, maybe just for a day, could be longer. If you remember TSB a good few years ago, things were down for a long time. If you need to get your money and you can't get it and it's all in one place, that's bad news. So I would definitely recommend you keep some of your money elsewhere if you can. That also reminds me very quickly to tell you something about with Claro. This is another account that I recommend. Apple phone, iOS only, unfortunately, not on Android. This is one of those sort of budgeting, money coaching apps, but it also offers 2% on up to £3,000 savings in there. Again, decent option for you, a nice place to put your money somewhere separate to the Virgin account or others you might have. Got an email today from them that they had their app was down. Now, I don't know how long it was down for, maybe half an hour, maybe an hour, maybe a couple. I had a look when I got the email, it was down. I looked again later on, it was up. Now, that was fine, didn't affect me, but of course, it's one of those things just to bear in mind, not having all your money in the same place, because if you need that money right now and it was down, then you couldn't access it. So it's just a little note to remind you about. There's another new account I want to tell you about, which would have been potentially quite exciting if it wasn't for the Virgin Money news. But this is from Zopa. They have launched a Smart Saver account. The idea with this one is easy access, currently offering you 0.72%. Not too bad, not amazing, a lot less than that Virgin Money account, but compared to other Best Buys at the end of February, it isn't bad. The idea with this one though is that if you want to boost your rate, you kind of put it into short-term notice accounts. So if you wanted to boost it to a 7-day notice account, you would get 0.75%. If you boost it to a 31-day notice account, it would go to 0.85%. And if you want to boost it for 95 days, it would earn 1.05%. And the idea here, I guess, is that you can't sort of just accidentally or impulse-wise spend your savings. It's kind of, it's locked away. It's put away for short term, for different sort of times or lengths of time, which I quite like the idea of. And obviously giving you an increased rate is even more of an impetus, more of a motivation for you to actually put it aside for again, short term, not long term, not talking about 1 year fixes here. We're talking about a week, a month, or 3 months. So I quite like this idea. Sadly, as I say, if you can get 1% on up to 25k with Virgin Money, there isn't really much point to this one at all. And also this one has a limit of 15k as well. So it's not like you're going to get the money after 25k. You can put it in Zopa. It's actually less money. Nice idea, but sadly bad timing. Quick update for you on the green savings bonds. You might remember last year these were launched and I was very disappointed in them. And you like the idea of the saving ethically, your money going towards something good. But these accounts, when they were launched, 3-year bond, so you couldn't get your money for 3 years, paying 0.65%, which was really poor back then. It's even worse now. So NS&I have decided for new customers only, if you've already got one and you've locked it to 3 years, your rate does not change. If you open up new ones now, you get 1.3%. So they've doubled the rate. So should you look at these? I mean, the green bonds idea, the ethical side, the environmentally friendly savings is really, really appealing, as I said. However, the rate is still really poor. So to give you an idea of greenish returns, ethical-ish returns you can get on a 1-year fix. So a third of the time you're locking it away. Kent Reliance Building Society. Building societies are always quite good for ethical investing because they generally just give their money towards mortgages. So they're not going to be putting their money into fracking or oil or any of these kind of things, or tobacco or alcohol or pornography or anything you don't agree with, because it's going towards people's mortgages. That's paying 1.32% on a 1-year fix. While Gatehouse, which is a Sharia compliant bank, is giving an expected return of 1.31%. So that also kind of has a kind of a green angle towards it. So I would say, look, if you want to get something green, look at those ones. You might be able to get better rates elsewhere. You can, for example, get a 1.51% 1-year fix right now, if that's what you want. If you want to get the highest rate for a fixed amount of time. And again, that will increase for 2 years and 3 years. I still think these green bonds are a massive disappointment and not ones to look at. Now, a couple of news about accounts that are closing or have closed. Very briefly, if you have any money with Masthaven, you've probably already been notified about this, but they are going to exit the savings business here in the UK. In fact, they are exiting the whole UK market. Their mortgages and loans will be going as well. But if you have savings with them, if it's easy access or the fixed term is finished, maybe now it's just a good time to think about where you're going to move it, put it in somewhere which is getting the best rate possible. If it is locked away in the fix right now, hold your horses, wait and see what happens. Obviously, if your fix ends before they close down, then it will just be released to you and then you can invest it elsewhere, save it elsewhere. If for some reason they would go before your fix expires, wait and see what happens there. You obviously get your interest payments, but whether that's for the whole term or just until they close it, we don't know just yet, but do keep an eye on that. And another account that's closed, which you might want to take action on because it's quite a popular account, I think, was the Nationwide Start to Save account. Now, when this launched, it was a 24-month regular saver. You could put in 50 quid or 100 quid every single month. You would get 1%, which wasn't actually that bad. For the time. It's still not bad actually for regular savers. But you would get 1%. Now that's increased to 1.25% if yours is still open. And there will be a prize draw every 3 months, as long as you put money into the account. I never won anything, but there were prizes anyway. The prize draws stopped in January. The last one finished just the start of this year. So no more prize draws. And if you actually have the money in there still, you can beat it with Nationwide. They have the Flex Regular Saver paying 2.5%, which I mentioned last week. But if yours is closed, and mine has just come to the end of its 2-year period, it was moved just this week, just 2 days ago, into something called a continue to save account, and that was paying just 0.5%. So absolutely, I have moved that money straight out and I put it into a better paying account. In fact, I'm going to put it into my, in the short term at least, into that Virgin Money M Saver account, just to make the best return while I think about what I'm going to do with it, whether I keep it in savings, whether I invest it. So they're the important things to tell you about what's been going on over the last few months. Let's end this video with my top tips of where to put your savings in March 2022. And it won't surprise you that I'm going to say if you have any money up to £28,000, it's very, very simple. You open up a Virgin Money M Plus current account. You get £1,000 in there, up to £1,000 in there, you get 2.02%. Don't forget, if you are new to this bank and you switch into it, you actually get 5.02% for the first year. It's even better. Then after that, if you've got an Apple phone, I would open up the Claro app and I would put up to £3,000 in there. So you've got 2 different accounts there. Access your cash. If one goes down, you can still access your money in the other one. And then I put anything else up to the value of 25k in that Virgin Money M Saver, 1% from the 1st of March 2022. Now, if you have any money beyond this, as I said at the top, I don't think most of us are going to need access to the cash to above that level. But if you do, couple of options here for you. I would look at, if you haven't used Raisin before, Raisin is a savings marketplace. Okay, the idea is you go there and they have some accounts you can get all over the shop, but some accounts which are exclusive to them. But they also have a welcome offer. If you save £10,000 in one of their accounts for 6 months, they'll give you a 50 quid bonus, which isn't bad at all. And they have a 95-day notice account. Obviously, you want to keep it in for twice that for 6 months with QIB, and that will give you 1%. So the same as what you'd get with the Virgin Money account, plus that 50 quid on top after 6 months. As long as you can lock it away for 6 months, that I think is a decent option for you. And you can look at premium bonds. Now I did a whole video about premium bonds, my experience of premium bonds, which if you haven't watched that, do check it out. I actually got, for 10 grand in there for a year, I got the equivalent of a 1% return. That was better than I expected. And from your comments in the videos you guys have left me, I know some of you didn't get that. Some of you got better than that. But this is up to 50k you can put in that. It's tax-free. It's a decent option to consider still right now. I will do another video very soon though, comparing whether you should keep premium bonds. Now we can get 1% elsewhere. So keep an eye out for that video. My name is Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos on savings. Until next time, cheers.